They don't have a little plastic tab you pull before you engage and sell it.
Okay, Jesse, can you see that one?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what that green box is. Shouldn't be there. Okay, so
Reminding you that you're sharing your screen.
well, maybe. Wasn't there on the last one? No, probably in the way too. All right. Station restrictions, operating restrictions, spurious emissions, antenna restrictions. Talks a little about HOA, fact that you're SOL, and races. The Part 97.3 has regulations on spurious emissions. I believe for transmitting equipment, it's like at least 43 dB down from the carrier. I don't know if we get into that one or not, but I think there is a question about that. So, which of the following constitutes a spurious emission?
Delta.
Yeah. I'm not sure one would be that you can't suppress or eliminate. Must be some condition where that applies. There's antenna restrictions. If you're close to an airport, you're limited to 200 feet or 60.96 meters. And actually, if you look at it, it's a gradient. Depending on how far away you are, the antenna height goes up. And I forgot what the distance, at a certain distance, it no longer applies.
So is that from like the perimeter of the airport? Is it
Yes.
from the end of the air landing strip?
It's from the runway center line.
Okay.
I had to do that for the 60-foot tower down here on Merritt Island Airport.
Okay. How far do you have to get to be 200 feet?
I
A mile?
at 1,000 foot off the center line, not in line with the runway, I was fine.
Okay. So which of the following additional rules apply if you're installing an amateur station antenna at or near a public use airport?
Here, it is definitely D, because you are not allowed to go to the FAA directly. It goes through the airport authority.
You mean the FCC is not right?
It's got a local law and local administrative command.
Okay, that supersedes it.
Yes.
All right.
In other words,
Now, is there a difference between a private airport and a public use airport? Because I noticed they use public use airport, which would be under federal.
You are pretty free on a private as long as you do not have an instrument approach to it.
Okay. So you have to notify the FAA and register with the FCC. You may have to.
Depends on the height and distance.
Because what?
Depends on the height and distance.
Right.
Oh, it depends if you have a superseding rule.
Yeah.
It's covered that one.
Okay. The FCC came out with this thing called PRB1, and I forgot what the PRB actually stands for, but it was a regulation for amateur radio and local and state governments. And it basically says that the local governments must reasonably accommodate amateur operations. So they can't just carte blanche say you can't have an antenna. Doesn't mean they can't put some restrictions on, but unfortunately, it does not apply to HOAs, and they can do anything they want.
In 1962, that regulation gave my family the best and only color TV reception in the neighborhood. Because the city did not allow external TV antennas. They had no idea what that little antenna off the side of our ham radio mast was. So we had a TV antenna 40 foot up.
A lot of them still don't catch on that flagpoles can be vertical antennas.
Yeah.
If they don't see, it doesn't exist.
Right. What type of regulations does PRB1 apply?
State and local zone.
Right. What does PRB1 require of regulations affecting amateur radio? Reasonable accommodations. Of course, now that's debatable what's reasonable.
Yeah.
RACES. It's a quasi-government organization. I keep hearing that RACES and ARES are going away, getting replaced.
Like I've been saying that for years.
They said Mars was going away too, but it just changed its
Okay.
function.
So RACES is any FCC licensed station certified by whatever the responsible civil defense organization in the area is. And you can operate under RACES rules in emergency situations using all of the amateur frequencies depending on your license class. And there's the actual wording. The main thing is it's got to be FCC licensed and certified by a civil defense organization, and the frequency bands and segments authorized to the control operator, whatever his permissions are or privileges are available. So what amateur stations may be operated under RACES rules?
See,
Certified by responsible civil defense.
All right, that's the key. What frequencies are authorized to an amateur station operating under RACES rules?
So where's the benefit of being in racing? Because you get to operate on the frequencies you're authorized.
Well, there's no benefit to you. It's benefit to the people in an emergency. It's emergency operations.
So maybe you're acknowledged as being an emergency station or
Yeah, I mean, it's an
station.
organized effort as opposed to a free-for-all.
almost everybody that I have run across, and I know when we do the Skywarn classes, are all Skywarn qualified also.
Mhm.
No.
that way.
The Indian River Club does frequent kind of emergency communication stuff and verify we can pass messages,
Right.
to all the people around the area. But it's not Racy's or Aries, it's just the local club. Oh. You have to be a mile or more away from an FCC monitoring facility, whatever that is. But I guess there's stations around that are where they eavesdrop to look for people violating stuff. Do we have any around here?
The only one I know of is there's one in Texas, Kingsville or King something.
Surely one closer than Texas.
There is, there's some-
Okay.
But I got a QSL card from him.
Okay. Uh, is that better than getting one from W1AW?
I didn't appreciate this one.
Okay. Within what distance must an amateur station protect an FCC monitoring facility from harmful interference? 1 mile. Let's see. Oh, depending on where you're located, you might have to have an environmental assessment. If you're doing it in a designated wilderness area, or a preserve. Does that apply to POTA?
There's other things. It's the Park Service rules.
Yeah, I guess in POTA though, you're not doing a facility, you're just portable, mobile.
But with POTA, their rules for the POTA are very specific that park ranger has the last call on everything. And some guy in Washington last week or a week before decided to get into a little tip to park ranger, and now all the parks that were under that ranger's control are now off limits for POTA. They didn't take them out of the system because they don't want to take credit away from those who previously worked those parks,
Yeah,
but they deactivated them.
it's not a juvenile response.
Yes. What's movie? And he refused to identify himself. But I don't know, but I disagree with that so much. But
Yeah. Okay.
got to shut down for everybody.
There are some of the national parks that have their own restrictions on drone operations also.
Okay. So what must be done before placing an amateur station within an officially designated wilderness area or wildlife preserve, or an area listed in the National Register of Historic Places?
Paperwork is.
Yeah.
No, it says before placing the station there, is that like portable and mobiles?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of assumed it was like more permanent, but
Yeah,
the way that's worded, placing a station could just be setting my transceiver up on a table.
we're driving onto the side.
So we're
Previous
using,
slide from the 97 code or whatever, use the term facility.
yeah,
They use the term station,
yeah.
so.
It's nice when they don't define some of those terms.
Well, the FCC and, well. Formation of a question for you,
Okay.
but I've never sought an environmental assessment when I've actuated. Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody doing it. That's why either they just overlook it or it doesn't apply to non-permanent.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand it if you were going to build a ham shack
Yeah.
in the woods. You'd need it wouldn't matter that it's a ham shack. You'd need permits to do it in the
Yeah,
first
more
place.
than the environmental system. You have a legal right to be there.
Right.
Certainly.
Okay, the National Radio Quiet Zone, which is the Green Bank Observatory. They call it the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in the ARL type stuff, but the FCC is very specific about where it is in that area in Virginia and Maryland. Uh, let's see. How far away do you have to be? It doesn't say in this one.
Well, it gives you the bounded by.
Yeah. So what is the National Radio Quiet Zone?
Unfortunately, it's not an area along Cape Canaveral.
And I guess that means as long as you're outside that perimeter they described, you can operate, right?
Right.
You don't have to be so far away. Of course, I guess that gets you far enough away that you're not going to bother it.
But even inside, I think cell phones, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. If you're causing interference with a broadcast service and people are using good quality receivers, then you can't operate between the hours of 8 to 10:30 p.m. local, and on Sunday from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. local time on those specific frequencies.
The NFL didn't get in there.
Huh?
The NFL obviously didn't get in there.
That might have been Jerry Falwell concept.
Yeah. Is 8 to 10:30 like prime time on AM broadcast or something?
It is on TV, but even that goes later than 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, kind of, what's happening? Oh, I bet you it's
Sunday school and
Pre-
church and then,
preachers, you know.
Yeah. The
religious-
televised. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a good thing.
What limitations may the FCC place on an amateur station if its signal causes interference to domestic broadcast reception, assuming the receivers involved are of good engineering design?
Well, it's a bad engineer, I'll go in there on the ball.
Right.
So,
All right. That's what you say in court.
well, written by lawyers, you know.
Yes. Frequency sharing. In some cases, we're primary, in some cases, we're secondary on different bands. Let's see, what are we on the 70 centimeters? 33 and 23 and 5 and 3 and the 24 gigahertz. We can't cause interference because we're secondary, right? I didn't realize we were secondary on 70 centimeters. It certainly implies that we are. What must the control operator of a repeater operating in the 70 centimeter band do if a radio location system experiences interference from that repeater? Cease and desist.
Make sure you don't use the same side of the radio location beacon for your repeater.
The 406 megahertz band is absolutely crazy at times right now.
With them,
406,
okay.
that's ELTs and
Right.
ERPs and an ELT.
Are they using the same frequency for locating, for maritime locators? Or is that just,
Well,
aircraft?
it's marine,
Okay,
personal and aircraft.
all right.
And here's another DRM question. I have no idea why. Um, I've looked up stuff about DRM several times, and even on their website, and they're basically 9 kilohertz bandwidth, except when it's coincident with some other signal, and they can do it at 4.5. And the problem is, when we get to this question, which of the following is an acceptable bandwidth for digital radio mondial based voice or slow scan TV digital transmissions made on the HF amateur bands? Now, I found no DMR equipment that can transmit. DRM. What'd I say? Oh, okay. That can transmit in a 3 kilohertz bandwidth. Yet they say that's the right answer.
Can you back up one, please?
Sure.
I was trying to read that in DRM, VHF-FM band occupies 100 kilohertz channel. Is that what it says?
Where are you seeing that?
Very bottom.
Oh, very bottom.
Hidden by
Let me
your
move
bar.
this.
100 kilohertz channels. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure where the 3 kilohertz comes from. I guess we don't need to know, just that the answer is 3 kilohertz.
Well, they were talking about, the AM band and then the VHF FM band, but the question is VHF bands.
Right.
You know,
Well, the DRM site, they're going up to 30 megahertz. So they're covering HF.
Right.
And it's basically their version of broadcast, well, sort of AM. But it's more of a international. I mean, it's coming out of India and a bunch of foreign countries. I only saw one US company that was signed up as a whatever. And nobody appears to be manufacturing any equipment you could use in the amateur band, because they're starting at multiple kilowatt transmitters. I mean, it's broadcast station stuff. Why it's coming up in these questions, I don't know. But I guess they got a lobby and they got a question or two put in.
yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be 6 kilohertz like AM. You know, it's not like,
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently they can do 4.5.
cause then you'd have 6
Well, yeah.
kilohertz wide signals on, HF band. Yeah, you can do that with AM now.
But it's a different mode. So it's not, I forgot what the modulation is, but supposedly it wouldn't interfere even on the same frequency. Well, kind of looked like noise because it's digital.
I don't know why we